Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today to talk to you more about how to write a U.S. admissions essay. We want to know more about you, so tell us who you are. So let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Suha Rabah, and I'm the Senior Associate Director of International Admission at the University of Denver in Denver, Colorado. Presentation, I will go over and cover the following topics. So why do U.S. universities require an essay in the first place? And what makes a great essay versus a weak essay? Also, how can we narrow down topics to understand what topic to select for a specific essay? And I'll also go over the generative artificial intelligence best practices and guidelines, especially when writing your essay. So why do American universities require an essay in the first place? Essays show us your writing ability, especially within an academic context. You're applying to an academic institution, and you will be utilizing academic writing pretty heavily throughout your academic journey. So basically, consider this a first step in that direction. Essays also help us make decisions between qualified candidates. If you look at the application, everything on the application is a data point, and the essay is the only place on the application where we can hear your authentic voice, and it tells us who you are and a little bit about yourself and an overall insight about yourself as well. So let's start off with what makes a great essay. So it's not only about the answer to the essay prompt question, it is how you answer that specific question. The how or how you approach that question and the answer to it gives us great insight about you as a person, your writing process, your just creative abilities, and so on and so forth. Your essays are an important component of your total application. Admissions to U.S. institutions is based both on your academic performance and your personal characteristics. So basically, think about all the different aspects of your application, such as transcripts, letters of recommendation, and so on and so forth, and then think about how you define yourself. What is missing? Your essay is a chance to fill those gaps. As I mentioned earlier, your essays are the one factor or the only factor on the application that you actually have the most control over. Your essays provide the opportunity to share your voice, your interest, and your passion with with the admission committee and the admission representatives. Factors to consider when writing down your essay is to provide the admission committee with some examples of the following. What do you value as an individual? What are you passionate about? Give an example, of course, in additional context if you want to provide that tidbit right there. You can also highlight your core characteristics. So basically what makes you you. Personal essays are about highlighting your authentic voice, so do not turn it into an academic paper. This is, again, you're providing an essay within an academic setting, but at the same time, it is not a research paper. Make it memorable in a good way, that is, and also do not be afraid to take a calculated risk and be creative within those parameters of the essay requirements, of course. And speaking of requirements, the essay, of course, has some guidelines that you would need to abide by. So first of all, you would need to actually answer the question prompt, be specific, give examples, give context. Meet exact specifications, especially when it comes to length and content. Make sure to engage the reader. Do not talk at the reader. Make sure to talk with the reader. Imagine like you're having a conversation or telling them a story. Proofread, edit, and let it sit. I would highly recommend that you do not accomplish everything, especially when it comes to an essay, in one sitting because it could create just a sloppy product at the end. A helpful tidbit is to jot down ideas and then string them all together. One that takes out the stress from the entire process because writing an essay actually can be very stressful. So build incrementally, and when the deadline comes, you feel much more confident in submitting your essay and sharing your accomplishments with the admission committee. So now let's talk about what makes a weak essay. Many applicants will write their essay about a significant event or experience. They often spend too much time describing that said experience. While context and background is helpful, it's not the part of the essay that will impact your application. Instead, you would need to be sure that you're explaining how that experience has impacted you. For instance, did it impact how you see the world? Did it cause you to change your mind? What perspective did you gain from that experience? So those are the areas to think about and contemplate. Keep in mind that when writing an essay, make sure to address it to the correct university. We have seen multiple essays where they address the wrong university. So I know this is not a grave mistake, but however, you're obviously trying to contact a specific university and you want to showcase to the admission committee that you are invested in their specific institution. That's why when I mentioned proofreading and editing are important, that is a huge component of that as well. And finally, your job is to provide evidence to an admission committee and reader that causes them to want to advocate for you on your behalf. So make sure to also take a look at some of the items I listed here in terms of not using inappropriate or offensive language. Again, make sure to answer the actual question. A lot of students do not answer the question and they go on and writing or using freestyle here, which can deter the reader, of course, and the admission committee. And the essay can be focused on somebody else, but at the same time, we want to learn more about you. And again, the essay is not in your authentic voice, so that falls under plagiarism. The Common Application usually has 7 prompts to select from. I provided the URL so you can acquaint yourself before the application process to see what type of prompts are offered in terms of essay topics. Here is a quick overview of some essay topics and different approaches that some students did take in writing their essays here. During the application process, you'll notice another type of essay, which is called an optional essay, and sometimes it's called a supplemental essay. Some universities will have optional prompts that invite students to share why they want to study at that specific institution and make connections with their interests and passions, as well as showcasing what motivates them. A good rule of thumb when deciding to complete these type of optional essays is if you do not have anything substantial to say about the topic or if the question does not apply to you at all, these are good reasons to skip the optional prompt. However, as I mentioned, some institutions require a supplemental essay. So in this case, it will be much more specific in scope. So you would need to offer more details and more context. Essays do not capture the entirety of what you want to say, especially when they're limited by word count and scope. On the Common Application specifically, there is an area that is titled Additional Information. So this is a good opportunity to provide succinct or a succinct summary of anything you would like to share with the admission committee, such as sharing some gaps or academic education gaps or inconsistencies on your transcripts and so on and so forth. This is also a wonderful opportunity to provide context pertaining to extenuating circumstances. Now, on to a very big topic in academia and admission these days, which is the utilization of AI during your research or your academics, in addition to your essay on your application. So, some recommendations I would have to offer here when it comes to using AI in the personal statement is to completely avoid a one-time prompt generated by AI, because this is not your authentic voice and it falls under plagiarism and academic dishonesty. First, we recommend that you do not use this because, again, it will result in a bad personal essay. It's going to be generic, especially if other students are utilizing the same prompt to generate a same type of essay. So your essay needs to be about you and to be specific and unique and to also provide examples. So you can actually use AI to get help with getting started, which is completely fine. You can use it as a brainstorming tool, but copying and pasting, as I mentioned, would fall under plagiarism and would not make you a standout applicant within the large applicant pool in general. So as admission counselors, we encourage our students to find and share their authentic voice throughout the essay process. And as I mentioned earlier on, the essay is the only part of the actual application where you have control over, so it will showcase you as a person. So do not miss the opportunity to show us how great of a student you are. Generative AI should not be used as a substitute, again, for the process of drafting, revising, and reflecting. It is a valuable and ethical tool to acknowledge in writing that assistive technologies are used within a specific purpose, and again, if used ethically and within ethical boundaries as well. And to conclude, the whole essence of an essay and providing an essay is to be yourself and show us how great you are. We all look forward to reading your essays and we wish you a wonderful application season. Take care.